All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Lasting Learning. This is the week I've been waiting for. This is a week that truly has been in the works since before this podcast was even in the works. Because today we got a guy on here who, I'll just be flat out honest, he's my hero. He's the guy that I want to be. He's representing the West Coast and Michigan today at the same time. For those of you that are watching this, you'll know what I mean by that. But he is just the real deal. He's the instiller of hope in my life. He's a missionary for optimism, a champion for kids. He is just everything to so many people, including me. Today we got a guy on who I first met in person 3-4 years ago, like a chance encounter at a conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. But he is setting the world on fire in his end of the world while I'm just following his footsteps in mine. Today we're going to hopefully learn a little bit, grow a little bit, and get to know what Santiago Meza is all about. Santiago, thank you so much for being here today, man.
Oh man, David, thank you for having me, man. This is like you said, it's been in the works from Las Vegas, 4 years in the making, man. So yeah, truly blessed to be here and honored to be talking with you, buddy.
This is gonna be good for people. Hopefully, this isn't just gonna be like gratifying for me. Hopefully, your words are just gonna fill other people with hope. So, can you just introduce yourself to people? Tell them who you are, what you're about, and what you do.
So my name is Santiago Meza. I am was born in Mexico. I was brought to the States when I was 10 months old. So um, my parents are from Mexico, so they're immigrants. They have sixth grade education at the highest. So for my family, I was the first graduate of a community college. I was the first graduate to get my bachelor's. I was the first graduate to get my master's degree. So everything for me has been a first for my family. My first love is special education. That's what I went to school for. So that's what I love, what I do, and how I breathe. Um, Educational administration is kind of fell at my feet when I was at the end of my special education kind of master's program. And so I also am a father of two amazing kids, and I'm married to a beautiful woman of 20 years, which is my foundation, my rock, uh, my building, my hope, my dreams. Um, and that's where I'm at right now, kind of thing. So those kind of me in a nutshell is I'm family first orientated, and that my staff knows that as well too. Is family always comes first. My faith is always above everything else, and I only answer to one person, and that's the man up above. So
I almost feel like we can just wrap up the conversation right there. I think people just heard that come through loud and clear. I want to go back a little bit and just capture something that you said. You said that special education is your first love. It's kind of what you were born to do, at least in
right.
terms of educational space. And that's something you don't hear all that often. Why do you feel like that is your niche? That is your place?
I've heard from a lot of people, and I find myself kind of out of body experience when we have issues at school with students that are high profile, are students that have learning disabilities, behavioral disabilities. I feel that sometimes I can step in and offer that glimpse of hope and understanding of finding the root of where these kids are at a lot of times. And when I was teaching my second year, and I was actually an RSP teacher, and I was teaching K through fifth grade students. So my caseload was at about 72 kids total. So that's a lot for a special education teacher to handle. Usually your cap is about 28, but I was the only special education teacher on campus. So I was kind of given, you teach K through fifth grade students, RSP, 72 kids on your caseload. I would say about 50 of those students were students that had difficulty with behaviors, maladjustment and stuff like that. And I would say all those kids that I helped out with the group of teachers that I had, I would say the majority of those are now successful high school students or graduates at this point, kind of thing. So, and it's just something, I got hired as a one-on-one paraeducator right out of high school, and that was it for me. I knew I had to do it.
Wow. How do you define special education? When we talk about the special education student, I know we throw labels around all the time, and there are 1,000 labels within that big umbrella. But in your
Yeah.
world, when you say that special education is your love, what is that?
So, so for me, special education is figuring out where kids operate according to their ability level, their strengths, their weaknesses. So special education is not just a system or a program; it's a way of operating, helping kids operate within themselves in a society where we're going to level the playing field for them.
That's good. So it's not just kids that have received a label from others. It's really trying to meet the needs of each kid. And you feel like that's your gift, is to really get inside the hearts and heads of students and champion their potential.
Yeah, because if you don't find what they're about, how they operate, and what moves them, then you have no shot at anything they're ever going to do. But if you can find what drives them, what moves them, where their hopes and dreams are at, and you connect all those dots, then you have a really great chance of growing some great individuals and supporting them. So,
And so now you are a school leader by title,
yeah,
administrator. You've crossed over
yes.
to the dark side. Um, do you miss being able to really problem solve with kids day in and day out, or do you still find time to do that on a regular basis?
So I do try to find time to actually go into special education classrooms on purpose and sit there. And even sometimes I like to go in and be a peer educator for the teachers, because a lot of teachers don't have the support sometimes of like one-on-ones and enough aid power in the classroom. So there are a lot of times I'll purposely go into the classrooms for special education and just sit down and kind of, talk to the kids and do some of the things that they're doing because going through that process of special education and the teaching part of it is I learned strategy as well too. So there's times where you can have an outsider actually come in and help support these kids. That is a little bit different kind of thing. So
Right now in your current job, what's the hardest part? Because for those people that don't know, we're recording this on a Friday afternoon,
right.
and this is the time of day where so many people are just exhausted and drained, and they're just feeling beat up upon, and they're reflecting on the week that was, where they felt like they didn't get anything done. And you might be in that
Right.
place right now too, man. But you come across as just so stoic and relaxed and just so chill. What gets you fired up? What frustrates you? What's hard?
So I think the thing that fires me up, and sometimes like any human individual, you find yourself in the mornings like this day is already going to be hard. Like it from the get go because you've been thinking about things from the previous day, and you're like, I know I have to talk to these people, these parents, or I have to solve this issue, or I have to do this. And by the time you get up in the morning, I usually get up about 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and by that time you already feel defeated. But then you you flip on a switch. I don't know how it is. Is I get up on like it's kind of like a pep talk. Be like, you know what? The day is going to go through either with or without you. I'd rather be in the day than have the good day take off without me and me not participate and not help put some effort into what the day's going to have to offer.
And so what gets you through on any given day? Because it's hard, man. When you are a
Oh,
building administrator and people are pulling you 1,000 directions, you wake up at 4:30, you've got a direction in your head. By
yeah.
noon, you've already gone way off course. I mean, now you're responding to needs you didn't even know existed. But what brings you back to center so that the next day you're like, okay, I can do this again?
So for me, as a building leader kind of thing, it's small moments in those days where you think like, this is why I got up this morning. It could have been helping a child tie their shoe. It could have been that you were there to give a hug to a coworker that was having a rough day. It was you that helped, you know, there was three teachers out and you were able to help your principal secretary kind of divert what that looks like with kids going. So it's bits and pieces of moments in the day that I think myself, I'm like, this is why I got up this morning. I didn't finish anything that I had to do on my task list, which is the paperwork, but I met someone at a human level that was successful, and that right there was all worth the day.
I mean, you're a guy that I think, I'll speak for me, other people, myself included, want to, I don't know if impress is the right word, but they want to do right by you. I it's hard for me to picture you ever getting frustrated, mad, or angry, because you seem like you just, like, sunshine's just coming out of your eyeballs, man. Like rainbows follow you around everywhere. Is that the reality, or do you ever lose it?
Oh, there's times where I lose it, but I lose it in a moment of my own, because no one deserves my frustrations. No one deserves my anger. No one deserves what frustrates me at that. I talk about it with my wife and some close friends and stuff like that. But when I do lose it, it's to myself. It's kind of a reflection of what I need to do either better or how I need to get things done in a different way. But the frustrations, the anger, whatever it is, I don't project it on people, because people have their own angers and their own frustration that they're dealing with. And for me to compound that on somebody is not fair for me, to do that kind of thing. So yeah, I do get mad and I do get frustrated, man. But it's more in a quiet state where I reflect myself on how I got myself to this point, kind of thing.
So, I talk about how you're like this champion for optimism and this instiller of hope. And I'll just tell a story where, I don't even remember the month it was, but probably 6, 7, 8 months ago, I was just having a rough day, and out of nowhere, my phone lights up, and it's you reaching out to me from across the country, like seemingly out of nowhere. But it's almost like you had your spidey sense was up, and you're like, man, I just got to give this guy a call. And truly,
Right.
for people that don't know it, I say we've known each other for 4 years now. We met at a conference in Vegas where, I mean, we just met, and we ended up sitting down at a lunch table, and we ate, and that was it. For most
Yeah.
people, that would truly be it. But
Yeah.
you're a guy that has been intentional about reaching out and building hope. What is it about you, man, that it still floors me that truly 6 months ago, my phone rings on this night where I'm at one of my lowest of lows. And it's this dude that I met for an hour in Vegas who's calling me up from 4,000 miles away just to say, hey, just thinking about you. How you doing?
Yeah.
Why, where does that come from?
So for me, that comes from my heart. Is I love people, and if I've reached out to you in any sense for anybody, is I know that people need people, and there's moments of intentional messages, even if it's a text message or a phone call or anything, that might be the one thing that sets apart the rest of the day for that one person. And so I try to make it a habit of doing that. Is when I get up, like I said, when I get up at 4:30 in the morning, I do my devotional time, because I know that I'm struggling right from the get-go. And if I'm struggling, I know people are struggling. And if I know that people are struggling, and if I can do anything and everything in my power, whether it's a small text message to somebody, that's going to light up their life for that one moment that they're going to need it. And I might even know that they need it, but to them, it's going to mean the world to them. And so my what I want to do on a daily basis, I reach out to people all day long, whether it's just text, say, hey, buddy, I'm thinking of you. Hope you have a great day. But I make sure I make it a habit that every week I send out text messages to people, because as much as I need it, I know they need it more.
It's huge. It's huge. And I know there are people who are listening to this that have been recipients of those, because people that might follow you on Twitter, if they haven't before, they'll go back and they'll see these people that just tweet messages to you saying, man, just thank you for the message today. Thank you for reaching
Yeah.
out, because it means so much. And I think that's that example that you set, and you don't do it for any gratification or for the return favor.
No.
You do it just to reach out to people, which is so powerful. I think, so building leader, we have these expectations for teachers where we say it's important that you meet every kid at the door, high fives, hugs, fist bumps, whatever the case is. Make
Right.
sure every single kid feels like they're individual. Make sure every single kid feels their own individual value. You
Right.
take that a step further though, man, and you do it for adults everywhere.
Right.
And you're pouring into lives, and that will have this exponential growth and accelerant that hopefully will just fuel the lives of kids everywhere, because now we're all going to pay it forward. It's awesome.
And so I even instill that to my teachers. I'm like, if I expect you to differentiate for our kids, I'm going to differentiate for you, because I know each and every one of you operates a different way. I might set expectations and say we all need to be here, but how you get there, I have to differentiate for you too, because you all are just like kids. You're all students and you're still learning. So if I expect you to do something and I need to differentiate for you how we get there, we need to do that too. Because if I expect you to do that to our kids, then I need to do it for you as well too.
Yeah, that's good. And it's about relating to people on a human level. Again, not for any
Yeah.
ulterior motive. It's not because you want to get something else. I know that oftentimes I hear administrators like myself, and we make the statement to our teachers, you have to form a relationship with your kids because it will help you get better test scores. Or because we have this, it's like the means to an end, as opposed to we just want to be authentic and we just want to be real. We want to
Right.
instill value into somebody's life. I don't know if
Right.
you've ever read the book, The Happiness Advantage by
I have
Sean
not. No.
Aker. Oh my gosh, this is, you gotta grab this book, man. And anybody that's listening, The Happiness Advantage. It was written, I want to say 7-8 years ago. Sean
Okay.
Aker is a Harvard professor, but it's not written like a guy who goes to Harvard or who teaches at Harvard. It's research based, but it's practical. The essence behind this book is he's citing all kinds of studies about how people who have an optimistic mindset, who present themselves as happy, end up more successful, any way you want to quantify it, as opposed to the other way around. Success equals happiness. No. It's happiness equals
No.
success.
Success. Right.
And if you start your day in this optimistic mindset, and you say today is going to be a good day, you put patterns in front of you so that you can practice being positive or paying it forward every single day, you end up truly quantifiably becoming more successful. And I hear that
Right.
that's what you're doing intuitively. You're starting your morning, you said, with devotions and putting yourself in the right mindset. And then you're paying it forward throughout the day to other people, to saying, I'm going to just pour out to other people and keep
Right.
their hopes alive. And it keeps you on this cool, calm, level playing field.
Right. Because I know that I'm not the only one that's struggling. So if I know that I get up in a day where I'm struggling, I know someone out there is worse off than I am, and they need to hear a voice, they need to hear a message, they need to hear it. And that's not like I'm doing it intentionally, but I'm putting it out there because there's days where I feel it. And if I know I'm feeling it, there's someone out there that's going to need a word, it's going to need a verse, it's going to need a smile, it's going to need a text, a message, something that's going to inspire them to say, you know what, someone's thinking about me. I need to go out and get it.
That's good. And you've taken it to the next level now, where your social media basically covers this every single day.
Yes.
And I'm part of these threads now where there are dozens of people that are responding back to your messages, and it's becoming exponential. You're not using social media to bash anybody or to take a
Nope.
political stand, just to spread some sunshine. Where did that come from? Why do you choose to use your platform that way?
So originally when I started, Twitter was just a way of communicating with a couple friends that I had. Tracy Scott was one of them, and then Tracy Kelly was another one that I had as well too. So it was just a form of communication. And I started, reading my devotional more often, and I started, reading Twitter more often. And there was a lot of political stuff going on, a lot of educational stuff going on. And I'm like, you know what? If I need to hear messages in the morning for myself, who out there might benefit from something like that? And like you said, when I give to not receive anything in return. I just put it out there to make sure that if I need something, someone else is going to need it more than I am. So I figured, hey, when I read my devotionals or when I read something or I have a thought on my mind, why not put it out there in print? Because someone needs it. And if I have had that thought, someone might be out there driving and said, hey, I need a voice in whatever it might be, and that message pops up like you were talking about. That's what I need, kind of thing. So just for me, it's just I love education. The political side, I don't really care about any of that stuff. Really, I just want to put stuff out there that is a message of hope, a message of inspiration, and a message that lets you know that we're all human beings. We're all on the same world. We all got to take care of each other, and just build that relationships.
I feel like I've got 1,000 things I want to say here. But again, it's that honesty and that transparency. And I don't want people to think that that you're just blowing smoke either, that you're just all sunshine and rainbows. I don't want to send that message, because another thing I appreciate about you is your transparency and your vulnerability.
Right.
You put out there before how, I mean, just blunt, you don't like to read, for example. You don't like to just sit down and pick up books and say, I'm going to plow through this, but yet you're a career educator. I mean, talk through that a little bit, and how does that fit in your life?
So, and that's a hard one, because I will tell you the only book that I ever enjoyed reading was Island of the Blue Dolphins. That was the only book I ever read for pleasure. Everything that I've ever read through college, everything that I've done in life to read, it was only because I had to. And I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm reading my Bible and doing this stuff. And then I meet this guy, Dave, at a conference with this book. I'm like, hey, so that story on that real quick is, you had a session going the next morning where I was signing up and stuff like that. and you put out a tweet through the SDC conference app, and you're like, hey, so the first person to respond, gets a free book. So I'm like, hey, free book, how can you go wrong with that?
Even though I don't read, but hey, I'll take it.
I don't read, but I'll take it, kind of thing. And so I put the message out, and you tweeted back like, hey, so come see me before the session starts. And so I come to your session. I'm like, we meet, and I'm like, hey, thank you for the free book. I took that book back. I had my wife with me and my kids at the conference as well too. So after the conference, I got your book. We went out to dinner and did stuff, and I actually stayed up that night reading the book. And I'm like, this is what I need to be reading. This book that I'm reading is not just about education. It's not just about what we need to be doing in the buildings and stuff like that. It's about life. It's about matching your family, the things that they need with the things that the kids need at school and all the employees. And it was that book, your book, that kind of got me like going. I'm like, you know what? I need to be reading, because if I'm always in my thoughts and not other people's thoughts, I'm not going to grow.
And now look at you. Now you've actually written part of a book. You're a published author now. It's crazy how things just grow. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and so you reaching out to me to do that, I was like, how do I even do that? I don't write. I write stuff, but I don't write to publish. I don't read for pleasure. And just doing that, I'm like, that set the world on fire for me, man.
Well, it's first of all, it wasn't just a courtesy. It was because I think that your words have tremendous value, but I also think there are a lot of people out there that have that same mindset in education or not in education. We're all busy people. And even if we might have the desire, we might not feel like we have the time, or we have the time, but we say, man, there's other things I need to be doing, like raising my kids, or you just don't have that interest. And that's okay. And I think that's what you were talking about with the kids you teach as well, is one of your passions is special education, but you see special education as truly meeting the needs, the passions, the desires of every single kid. And we can't say we're for kids, and we want to differentiate for kids, but we don't want to differentiate for the adults they're going to become. And so we got to be willing to embrace everybody. That's awesome.
Right.
That's awesome. So man, you've covered a lot, from faith to optimism to hope to leadership to you name it, from your mobile office there. So people that are just listening to this, he's on the road right now. He's parked, but he's on the road on this Friday afternoon. And I told you that when we got to the point where the story was kind of told here, I was going to give you this opportunity to just impart some wisdom on us. Yeah. And this podcast, we're taking Joe Rogan on a run here. We're gonna blow up iTunes here. And people right now are listening to this and they're saying, man, this guy's got some wisdom. He's got some truth. And I want you to just drop that mic real quick and give them your parting shot. What truth do they need to hear today that's going to change the world tomorrow?
So the truth that people need to understand is this is not an I world. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. Because this world doesn't function on your own. This world needs people to step up and offer hope to people. Because there's always going to be a person. There's always going to be people that need inspiration, whether you want to give it or not. People will need hope. And if you can be that beacon of light, and you can be that salt in the world to offer that, say, hey, you know what? I'm going to step it up because I need to be the best person I can for somebody else, not for yourself all the time. And there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, but people need people. And for me, that's where I come from. Is my root, is my foundation, is my faith and my hope, my love that people need. And if you have those three elements, there's nothing that can stop you ever, kind of thing. So for me, if there's a firm foundation, if you have that firm foundation, then there's nothing that can quicksand that can't get to you, kind of thing. So
that's awesome, man. Just serve people, no hidden agenda, not to try to do anything to change anything. Just serve them. People need people. Yep. People need you. People need your words. People need your hope. People need anything you have to give. That's awesome, man. And you are truly an example of that. So people that are listening to this, it's not just words. He is a man that truly practices what he preaches. So Santiago, thank you so much, man, for pulling over and having this conversation with us today. You are a hero of mine. I'm sure other people that are listening to this today are thinking the same thing. They're going to say, man, I want to be that guy at some point. Yeah. So just, if you want to be that guy, just go out and do something for somebody today. And that's what that guy does. You're awesome.
no strings attached. Just go out there, even if you're in line, buying coffee and someone needs pennies or something, just do something good, because what's going to happen is that's going to take over. And something that I also heard and have done is when you do something good for somebody, you might know down the road you're going to experience something from someone when you need it the most.
It's truth. It's truth. It's absolute truth. All right, man. You are just incredible. Again, thank you for being you, and thanks for sharing you with the rest of the world.
Yeah, man. No, thank you, man. It's been a long time coming, and I know we've been trying to get together and hook up soon, but now face to face, voice to voice, man, you are truly an inspiration to me for sure, man. Appreciate you.
Awesome.